Okay, I'm going to make just a short little video to go through the steps of how we use elimination. You've already seen this example in your notes, but I wanted to walk you through it and maybe go a little slower, or this way you can rewatch the video when you get confused in different parts. I highly recommend going through and rewatching this, especially if you're struggling with your assignment for today. So I were to graph, first question. Yesterday we talked about how we're looking to find numbers that have the same number in front of them and opposite signs. That's how we're going to start our elimination. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look at my x's. I have a 6, I have a -6. If I go look at my y's, I have a 2 and I have a -5. We're looking for the variables that have the same number and different signs. So when I look at this, my x's have the same number with different signs. I'm going to put a box around those to remind myself that that's where my elimination is going to happen. If you remember, elimination happens because we're canceling out, or when we add them together, we get 0. From here, I'm going to add all the way across like terms. So when I add my x's together, 6x plus -6x is just going to give me 0. I'm going to put a line through that to remind myself that's gone. I don't need it right now. Then I'm going to add my y's together. So I have 2 plus -5y. When I add those together, and if you're not good with your negatives, use your calculator, I'm going to get -3y. Then I'm going to go to the other side of my equal sign, and I'm going to add together 4 plus -28. Again, use your calculator. You should get -24. Our goal, we're trying to figure out what our y value is. But to figure out what y is, I have to figure out a way to get rid of this -3. Well, when we did our equations at the beginning of the year, when we use our t-chart, in order to get a letter by itself, when it's multiplication, which that's what's happening with the -3 and the y, we have to use our opposite operation. The opposite of multiply is divide. So I'm going to divide, and I'm going to take the negative with me. So I'm going to divide both sides by -3. -3 and -24, I'm dividing. Again, use your calculator. Be careful with your negatives. Your y value should equal +8. Because -24 divided by -3 is +8. From here, I'm going to continue, and I'm going to look at my original equations again. When I go back and look at my original equations, I need to pick one. It really doesn't matter which equation I use. I like to avoid negatives. So if I look at these two equations, the top one, to me, looks nicer because there's not any negatives in it. So I'm going to use this entire equation. I'm going to completely rewrite this equation. So I'm going to do that over here. The only reason I'm completely rewriting the equation is because it's going to help me stay organized so I don't get confused. So when I rewrite my equation, I know what my y value is. I know what my y value is because we just solved it over here. We figured out it was 8. So I can rewrite this whole entire equation. The only thing that's going to be different is instead of the y, I'll put an 8 there. So I'm going to say 6x plus 2. I'm going to put 8 in parentheses because this is multiplication. The 2 and the y together mean multiplication. So when I plug the 8 in, I need to remember that it's multiplication. In order to continue, I have to get rid of parentheses. Remember when we did our solving equations at the beginning of the year, we always want to get rid of our parentheses. So I'm going to multiply right here, and I'm going to bring down everything else that I still have. So I'm going to have 6x, I'm going to have plus 16, and I'm going to have equals 4. Hopefully at this point in time, you're thinking to yourself, oh gosh, I know what to do. This is a t-chart. Yep, I'm going to draw a t-chart. Remember, our ultimate goal here is we're trying to solve for x because we have to know what x and y is. So in order to do that, I need to move 16 to the other side, and we always use opposite operations. Again, use your calculator if you're not great with negative numbers. There's nothing wrong with using your calculator. 4 and -16 is going to leave you with -12. And then I have to get the x by itself. To do that, I'm going to divide by 6, which hopefully you remember doing at the beginning of the year. This is just a simple t-chart. My x is going to equal -2. So we solved using elimination. Remember, your answer always needs to be an ordered pair. Ordered pairs always go in x, y order. So my x value is -2. I'm going to put that there. My y value is 8. put it in parentheses, and this is my solution. If I were to graph these lines, they would cross at the point -2, 8. So I have one solution and it's at -2, 8. So that's how we solve using elimination. I have another video that you can also watch if you're still confused.